You've been meaning to do it for weeks. You think about it almost every day. You tell yourself today is the day. You even sit down to start. And then somehow, you're watching something, scrolling something, doing anything except the actual thing. And at the end of the day, the guilt sits there quietly. Not enough to make you do it. Just enough to make you feel bad about not doing it. If you've been stuck in that loop, this video is going to explain exactly why it happens. And more importantly, how to actually get out of it. Here's the first thing most people get wrong about procrastination. They think it's a time management problem. Get better at planning, use a better system, be more disciplined, and it'll stop. But research in psychology tells a different story. Procrastination isn't primarily about time. It's about emotion. Specifically, it's about avoiding the uncomfortable feelings that a task brings up. Feelings like anxiety about doing it wrong, fear that the result won't be good enough, uncertainty about where to even start, the dull dread of something that feels tedious or difficult. Your brain's job, at a very basic level, is to move you toward reward and away from discomfort. When a task is associated with discomfort, your brain nudges you toward something else. Something that feels better right now. Scrolling, eating, reorganizing your desk, watching one more video. That relief is real. It works. In the short term. But the task is still there. And now it has an extra layer, the guilt of having avoided it. So the procrastination loop is actually an emotional regulation loop. You feel bad about the task. You avoid the task to feel better. Avoiding it makes you feel worse, which makes the task feel even heavier, which makes avoiding it more tempting. Understanding that loop is the first step to breaking it. Because the solution isn't to force yourself through the discomfort every time. It's to reduce the discomfort attached to starting. There's also a specific myth worth dismantling, that productive people feel more motivated than everyone else. They don't. What they have, and this is backed by behavioral research, is a system that doesn't require motivation to activate. They've removed the decision of whether to start. The structure starts for them. And here's the counterintuitive truth that most productivity advice buries. Motivation doesn't come before action. It usually comes after. You don't wait until you feel like exercising and then go. You put on your shoes, you start moving, and somewhere in the first 5 minutes, the resistance fades. The same is true for almost every kind of work. The feeling follows the action, not the other way around. Which means the system you need isn't one that waits for you to feel ready. It's one that makes starting small enough. That feeling ready is irrelevant. Alright, the system. It has 4 components. Each one targets a different part of the procrastination loop. Together they make starting a consistent behavior instead of a lucky event. Component 1, the night before list. Every evening, write down the 3 most important tasks for tomorrow. Not a full to-do list. 3 things. When you wake up, the decision of what to work on has already been made. There's no morning friction of figuring out where to start. You wake up with a direction already set. This alone eliminates a significant portion of procrastination because a lot of what looks like procrastination is actually decision paralysis about what to do first. Component 2, the 2-minute rule. For any task you're avoiding, your only commitment is to work on it for 2 minutes. Set a timer. Start. That's the entire obligation. 2 things usually happen. Either you stop after 2 minutes, which is fine, you still made contact with the task. Or the 2 minutes becomes 20, because starting was the hard part and now you're in it. Either way, you win. The loop is broken. Component 3, remove the first obstacle. Before the 2 minutes even begins, remove whatever is making starting harder. Close the irrelevant tabs. Put the phone in another room. Open the document you need. Get the materials out. The first action should require 0 setup. Friction before starting is like a locked door in front of your task. You don't need to renovate the house, just unlock the door before you need it. Component 4, anchor to an existing habit. Attach your most important task to something you already do consistently. After morning coffee. Before lunch. Immediately after closing a regular meeting. Anchoring a new behavior to an existing one reduces the decision of when, which is another invisible source of procrastination. Let's go back to perfectionism for a moment, because it needs a practical solution, not just an explanation. The perfectionism trap keeps people stuck in a specific way. They don't refuse to work. They set an impossibly high bar for beginning. The conditions have to be right. The mood has to be right. The outline has to be complete before a single word gets written. The plan has to be fully formed before any action is taken. And those conditions never fully arrive. So here's the practical reframe: done is better than perfect. But more specifically, started is better than planned. Your first draft is not your final draft. Your first version of anything is allowed to be bad. In fact, it's supposed to be bad. The first version's only job is to exist so you can improve it. You cannot edit a blank page. The same logic applies to decisions. A decision made with 70% of the information acted on now will almost always produce better outcomes than a decision made with 100% of the information acted on 3 weeks later. As for waiting for the perfect mood, here is something worth saying directly: the perfect mood is not coming. There will never be a morning where you wake up feeling completely ready, with zero resistance, enthusiastic about your hardest tasks. Productive people don't feel differently. They've just stopped treating their feelings as permission slips. Work happens on the ordinary days, not the inspired ones. Here's what a realistic procrastination-resistant routine actually looks like. The night before, write your 3 tasks. Lay out what you need for tomorrow. Remove one obstacle from the start of your day, open the document, set out the materials, clear the desk. Pre-decide your first action. Go to bed with tomorrow already partially started. The morning, before the phone. Before checking anything. Drink water. Look at your 3 tasks. Pick the first one. Start the 2-minute timer. That's the whole morning system. During work in blocks with defined endpoints. Not, I'll work until I finish. That open-endedness breeds resistance because the brain doesn't know how long it's committing to. Try 25 to 45-minute blocks with a short break. You're not committing to finishing. You're committing to a container of time. When you hit resistance mid-task, don't stop and switch. Instead, write down exactly where you are and what the next step is. Then take a 5-minute break. Then return. The resistance is almost always about uncertainty, not inability. Writing the next step removes the uncertainty. End of day, note what you actually finished, not what you didn't. The habit of recognizing completion, even small completion, trains your brain to look for and register progress instead of defaulting to "I didn't do enough." If you've been procrastinating on something for a while, here's what I want you to do after this video. Open whatever app or notebook you use. Write down the one task you've been avoiding longest. Then break it into the smallest possible first action. The first step. The first 2 minutes. Then do it. Not because the resistance won't be there. It probably will be. But because the system is now smaller than the resistance. And that makes it possible. And possible is all you need to start. If this video helped you understand something you've been struggling with, hit the like button. It helps this reach more people who need it. Subscribe to Goal Getter Guild for more honest, practical videos on building a life that actually works. New video every week. And leave a comment. What's the one task you've been putting off the longest? Put it in the comments. Making it visible is the first step. I'll see you in the next one.